Hey, so I got 5 books I'm going to share with you today. These books were actually introduced to me. Let me see, 3 of them were introduced to me. 2 of them I just stumbled across, but I just found them. I just found the title interesting, so I picked them up. And man, I was surprised by the information that I learned from these books. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna break the books down, and maybe some of the tips that I share from the books will maybe give you a different perspective on life, or maybe it'll change your direction. But I want you to stay to the end, because at the end, I'm going to give you all one of the money rules that I learned from the book. So let's get started. So book number 1 is going to be, I got my list here because I got so much notes that I kind of prepare, right? Because I want to make sure that I give y'all the value that I've learned from this book. Hey, by the way, if y'all want a copy of these notes, y'all can go to, where would I have these at? We'll put them on our website. So go to stanmedina.com, and what I'll do is I'll have them put like a little pop-up on the left, on the bottom left corner. So if you're looking at it to the right bottom corner, it'll be a pop-up. Just put your email in there, and I'll send you a copy of the notes. That way you don't have to be writing notes or whatever, right? You can just go back and get a copy of the notes, and you'll have them in your email, whatever. But the first is strengths-based leadership. So one of my very, very first mentors, before we got started, working together, before she got started coaching me, she says, I want you to go buy this book, and I want you to look in the back of the book. There's like a little secret compartment here, right? Well, this compartment has like a number on there. You scratch it off. So you scratch the number off. You log onto the website, and you get to take this free strength finders test. And man, this book really clarified a lot. It clarified a lot of what I was struggling with at the time, and it has brought like a lot of clarity to the reasons why I was having these shortcomings and why I was so frustrated. This book really shared a lot, so I'll get a little bit about into this book. One thing that this book really taught me was that we all have certain strengths. And if we don't take the time to identify what strengths we have, we'll never know what strengths we have. And we'll never know how to use our strengths to help us achieve success, right? So one of the strengths, and one of the things that I've learned from this is, like, if you're a person that always says yes, because you know deep down that, whatever you agree to do, whatever you commit to do, you're going to get it done, right? You're a yes person, right? Well, one of your strengths might be a strength it's called a strength of responsibility, right? And so what that strength is basically that you have a strength of being responsible for a project. For example, if you take on a project, if you commit to something, it's more likely you're going to get it done because you have that ambition to get it done. You're a go-getter. You're going to make sure that you do it. No matter what it takes, you're going to get it done, right? So one thing that I learned from this book is that if your strength is responsibility, if you're a responsible person and you overcommit to people, you overcommit to projects, what ends up happening is you start to fall short of all your projects because you have so much stuff you're trying to deal with, and mentally you can only process so much information. So then you start to fall short on projects. So what this book really taught me is that being that your strength is responsibility, your strength might be some other things. There's about 20 different strengths in here that people have, right? It actually, so after you take the test, it actually gives you a printout. It sends you a copy of I think it's like your top 5 strengths from 1 to 5, right? And so then it actually tells you how your strength is working against you and how to make your strength work towards you, right? So if your strength is responsibility, if you're like a yes person, what that means is like if you decide to do something, if someone asks you to do something for them, you're gonna get it done, right? But if you overcommit, you stretch yourself too thin. You've heard that phrase, like, I got too many irons in the fire. Okay, you got yourself stretched too thin. You committed to too many things. So then you get stressed out because you can't really finish anything, right? So How do you make your strength work actually for you? The way you do that is you say, okay, what do I want to accomplish in the next year? What do I want to accomplish for myself? What do I want to accomplish for my family? What do I want to accomplish for my business? And you only commit to the things that are going to drive that forward, right? So if you have if there's something that you need to accomplish for your family, whenever someone says, hey, do you want to do this? I need your help for this. You have to say, okay, is that in line with any of these areas? Is it in line with my personal goals? Is it in line with my family goals? Is it in line with my financial goals? Is it in line with my spiritual goals, fitness goals, or whatever? If that aligns, then you could take on that project. And that's the only way you're going to achieve success moving forward. If you align yourself with, opportunities and projects that are going to bring you forward. It's not so much about yourself. It's about, okay, am I doing this to benefit one of my areas of need, right? Family, friends, financial, personal fitness, spiritual. Is it in line with that, right? So this book is a very powerful book. It will definitely give you a lot of clarity on your strengths, and it'll teach you how to identify the strengths in other people, right? So if you're in a relationship, you might want to figure out what the strengths of your partner is, so that way you know how they operate, how they think, how they process things. Because if you're one way and they're another way, you're going to be clashing, because you're two different people, and you don't understand why, and you get frustrated, right? So that's the first book. Definitely check it out. The second book is The Banking Secret. And I stumbled across this book at Barnes and Noble, right? And man, this book actually breaks down a lot of bankers like lingo, the bankers vocabulary, how bankers like look at stuff, banks are in the business of making money, right? But it actually breaks down like how they make the money, how the interest, how all that stuff works. And it actually gives you some pretty good tips on how to, pay off your mortgage faster. This is a pretty powerful book. One of the tips I can show you from this book, and I actually applied it to one of our properties, is that whenever you get your mortgage statement, if you actually look at the mortgage statement, right, it'll say, and we've all probably, if you have a mortgage or auto loan, right? If you look at your auto loan or you look at your mortgage, it's gonna say interest, principal, total payment, right? Usually the interest is probably gonna, let's just say for example, your payments are $400, right? And it's probably gonna say like interest, 300, principal, 100, right? So what that means is that you're paying $300 a month just on the interest, and only $100 of that is going to the principal, right? So in the book it says, hey, if you just pay, for example, if you just pay an extra $100 a month, you don't have to pay double payments. If you just pay an extra $100, you're actually knocking off a month off the back end, right? So if you're on a 20 month, this is a 20 months, right? If you're on a 20-month loan, and you just pay the principal, right? So the principal is like $100 extra. You're actually knocking down the back month. So you take off the 20, then it's 90. So you shorten the loan from the back end. It's a very powerful trick. It's very simple to apply, because people think that you have to, in order to pay off something, you got to pay double payments, but you don't. You just got to pay the principal part of it. The Banking Secret is a very powerful book. At the end of the video, I'm going to share another powerful tip, another powerful rule. They call it a rule. It's a money rule. In this book, I'm going to share at the end of the video. I'm going to leave that for the best for last, but I'm going to put this here so I don't forget it. This book, Profit First, man. Another mentor of mine, right? Another mentor of mine. He's really a business savvy guy. Like, he just really real sharp, very, very knowledgeable on real estate investing, very knowledgeable on team building, very structured, very like organized. And he actually introduced me to like the Google Calendar and all this stuff. Like, I was never familiar with that, but this guy's like, man, you should use this more often, right? So I was like, all right, cool. Well, we got into the conversation about money and about like how to transition from like an entrepreneur, small business, to like a more corporate level, more solid foundation building business, right? And he says, have you read the book Profit First? And I said, no, I haven't. He's like, man, I want you to go get the book and just read it. And this Profit First is not an there's some books that you can do auto, like that's the thing too, okay? There's some books you can do audio books, and there's some books that you can't, okay? This is not an audio, you can't do audio book on this. You can't do an audio book on this either, okay? So these are actually books that you need to buy, and you need to spend some time and going through the book and just figuring out, okay, let me do this part of it, and study the book. Study the content in the book. This book is one of those books where you have to get the book, you have to break it down, you have to do some online research, you have to go through your financial statements, and you have to apply the things in this book. And after a month or two, even a month of applying what's in this book, I guarantee it's gonna change the way you see your financials, and it's gonna change. It's gonna inspire you. It's gonna help you build confidence, and it's gonna make you stand stronger, because you know that, hey, you have a system in place to help you build some wealth. This is the first step. This is the Profit First, very powerful book here. Next book, man, this is another good book right here. I mean, this is another powerful book. Got my screensaver right there. Keys to the Vault, man. Keith Cunningham. This guy, man. If you get a chance, just look up Keys to the Vault on YouTube. And this guy, he has a real strong authority presence, right? But not only that, but like he has this, he just has this knowledge of like business. And I did some research on this guy, right? This guy is like one of those guys that he wasn't really like, he doesn't like the limelight. He doesn't like to be flashy. Like, he's just a real business guy. He's very smart. He associates with a lot of, highly business people. Like, this guy actually is the coach to a lot of like highly business people, and a lot of highly business people won't say who their coach is, but this guy coaches those guys. This guy is one of those guys that he's like flies under the radar, but he associates with a lot of big people. And this book, man, this book actually, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're looking to open a business, this book gives you the perspective of like an angel investor looking down. So like, if you have a business and you have an idea and you're trying to find investors, you're trying to find this actually gives you the lens. It communicates the lens of how those guys see, these entrepreneurs, how these guys see first-time business owners, what they look for, how they're able to tell like within 5 minutes if this guy is a real deal or not. And this book breaks down a lot of that information. It also shares how to, do a proper business plan, how to present yourself, how to present your idea, how to just structure yourself so that, whenever you're around an investor, whenever you get the opportunity to find a hard money lender or angel investor, you're prepared. This book is a very, very strong, powerful book. I recommend this book if you're looking to just grow your mindset on, okay, how do I take my business to the next level? How do I understand how they think, right? So it's just like, okay, let's say you're gonna go to a business meeting, right? And you prepare yourself, you know what you're gonna say, and then you're stressed out because you're like, man, I wonder what they're gonna say. I wonder what questions they're gonna ask me. I wonder what they're gonna look for. What should I wear? How should I present myself? Well, this book gives you like a lot of insight on what they look for. Whenever they go to you, the entrepreneur, the first time business owner, this gives you a perspective of what they're looking for and how they can kind of see who's real and who's fake. It's a very powerful book. Next is The Power of Full Engagement. Man, this book. So the way I came across this book is I was reading another book. I don't know if I have it here. I think it's the it's. I don't want to get into that book yet. That book is Multiple Streams of Online Income, and I was introduced to that book by Tim Story, right? So Tim Story's like, I'm reading this book, and I'm studying this, and so I was like, I'm just gonna get that book because I want to. The reason why I bought that book, honestly, is because I knew Tim Story was reading it, and whenever I was gonna talk to Tim Story again, I wanted to talk to him about the book. That way we can have something to talk about, right? So I do stuff like that. If I know that someone that's a mentor of mine or someone that I want to, get in the same environment with, I'll read the stuff they're reading so that I know that I have something to talk about with them. So that's just something that I picked up from Tim Story, what he was reading. But in that book, it breaks down a lot of just the mental process of the way people process information and how to it's just a very powerful book, man. That's a powerful book. Now, all these books are powerful, right? That's what I keep saying. But The Power of Full Engagement really gave me a different perspective on my energy, on my personal energy level. And so how do we explain this, right? So look, if you're at work or if you're in a stressful environment, I talked about this in a previous video, right? If you're stressed out or if you're kind of involved with some like disagreement and you're just frustrated, right? And let's say it's during the day, right? Well, your heart rate's gonna go up, your blood pressure, right? And so whenever that happens, it drains your mental, capacity. It just drains you from like your thinking power. That's basically what it does. It drains your thinking power. And this book explains, it says, you know what? Like we all have to learn how to reserve that power. And so one of the things that I learned from this book is that if you push yourself, right? And I started doing this, like I would get on the treadmill and I would push myself incline for as long as I can. And I would track my heart rate on my Apple Watch. And I would get my heart rate as high as I can. And I'll just keep it as high as I can. I'll just push myself, right? And then I'll drop it, and then I'll see how fast I can drop my pulse. I'll see how fast I can drop it and how fast I can put myself in a relaxed mindset. And what this did was it prepares you for stressful situations in life. So imagine you're at work and you get stressed out, right? And your blood pressure goes up. It's gonna by the information in this book, it teaches you, says, okay, learn how to control your blood pressure. And the way you do that is you train hard, you work out, you push your blood pressure. That way, when you get in stressful environments, you're able to bring it back down as fast as you can. Because what happens is, if you don't train, if you don't know how to control your energy level, it's gonna get drained quick, right? And you probably have had this, right? You have like a stressful day, and it's 5 o'clock, and you're just like, man, I just want to eat a burger, and I'm just gonna go to sleep. It's because you just got beat up that day. You just got drained. You didn't take no time to stop and say, okay, you know what? Let me recover. So one way to recover is every 45 to 60 minutes, just take a break. Take a break from whatever you're doing. Go outside, breathe some air, maybe listen to some music, change whatever you're doing. Like get away. If you're working on a project, just take a break from it and just do something completely different. Like breathe, relax, maybe just listen to some like music, just rest, kind of breathe, make sure you kind of control your energy level. It's gonna keep rebuilding. So whenever you come back in, you're gonna be more charged up. So this is a very powerful book. I recommend this book for anybody that's dealing with anxiety, anybody that's really drained, that has a lot of responsibilities. They're really drained. They're not sure how to deal with situations. If you're a manager, if you in charge of a big organization, and you just feel like, hey man, I get stressed out really easy, I have anxiety. This book is going to be a very powerful book to help you with that, man. So these are 5 books that I wanted to share with y'all. I'm going to start bringing out more powerful books that I have. These are just 5 that I had that I said, man, these are some powerful books. Like I said, these books, This might be an audiobook. You could probably do this on audiobook, but these other ones aren't. This is a good read because it locks you in when you're thinking. It makes you focus on it, and it makes you kind of reflect on things that you got to do. It actually has, so this one actually has like a training exercise in the back. It's a pretty powerful exercise as well. You know, I did a PDF on this, but it has like a breakdown of different, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so it has like a bunch of different questions. And it is actually like, let me see, this is like top work-related performance barriers. So it just asks you questions, and it kind of does an audit on your day. And this is very powerful stuff right here. So you do an audit on your day, and you can start to see what drained you, right? So you can do an audit and say, you know what, during 2 o'clock I had a disagreement, and you're like, well, you know what, I never really recovered from that. That's why it drained me. So then you kind of bring stuff to light, and you start to reflect, and you start to make adjustments. This is a very powerful book. So hey, so look, I told you I would save the best for last. The Banker's Rule teaches about the rule of 72. And basically what the rule of 72 is if you divide 72 by the interest rate of whatever your loan is, right? So let's just say, for example, your loan is 18%, right? That's like some high interest auto loans, right? If you divide 72 into 18, it's gonna tell you how many times that's gonna double, right? So for example, let's just do some math here. So let's just say it's I'm gonna do some math here, right? So let's just say 72 divided by 18, right? So that means if you bought a car for $10,000 and your interest rate is 18%, that means in 4 years you're gonna pay double that. That means that you're gonna pay $20,000 in 4 years. So it's a good thing to determine when you're gonna get into debt. So this is one of those things, like on our other video about money spending, right? This the rule of 72 really helps you out whenever you're gonna do a purchase and there's interest involved. It kind of gives you the logic behind it, and it kind of protects you, because you're like, man, you know what? If I'm gonna buy this for $10,000 and I'm gonna pay 18%, that means in 4 years I'm gonna pay $20,000 for this, whatever. Is it really worth that much? So rule of 72, I told you I'll save the best for last. If you get a chance, if you're more interested in the rule of 72, leave a comment below. Say, hey, make a video on the rule of 72. It's very simple. 72 divided by the interest rate, and it's pretty cool because you can start to play with your credit cards and start to see how these credit cards make so much money, is because they know the rule of 72. Most people don't know that. So hey guys, I appreciate y'all's time for watching. Make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, leave some comments on some of the books that you've read that might have changed your life, because I want to hear about it. I want to read about it. I'll reply back, and I might even have those books. If I don't have the books, if you suggest a book, you're like, Stan, you need to read this book, dude. This book is like, it's another level, right? Leave it in the comments. I'll definitely pick it up. I'll definitely read it, and I'll share it. I'll share the information with y'all guys. Hey guys, thanks for y'all's time. Thanks for watching again.